asking yourselves, if you're watching this about the event on entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship, is thinking, why is somebody who's had a 17-year career in corporate life coming to talk to us about entrepreneurship? And I guess for me, my fascination with business, you know, I was working this out just the other day. 22 years I've been studying business. Or living it, breathing it, working in that environment. And again, I believe that whether you are an employee in an organisation or whether it's your ambition to run your own thing, and having experienced both, that belief that you can make a difference, I think, is the thing that I see as a common thread between the intrapreneur and the entrepreneur mindset.
Okay.
So for me, in terms of my career, I started as an apprentice with BT back in 1997. Was fortunate to get the opportunity to progress my study and continue on and complete a degree in business, and originally started out working for what's now O2, but was originally BT Mobile down in Leeds. You know, fantastic place to be. I remember my first day walking through the doors and banners everywhere because they just signed their millionth customer, which now, when you look at the size of the mobile phone market, seems like a tiny number. And it was a time when everything was changing. It was a very exciting place to be. You had a lot happening in terms of regulatory framework with Competition Act and data protection, which for me was a great opportunity because I had already studied law at A-level and had originally wanted to become a practicing solicitor. I started a law degree and came to BT because actually I discovered it wasn't for me and I dropped out, which was a big and bold decision to take at the age of 20. And yeah, so working with BT, I started being exposed to all of these different opportunities. The best advice I was given in my first week was take every opportunity you can, work in as many different departments, get to know as many people. And so I worked in all kinds of things. So did the training programs on regulatory compliance, did things around process architecture and quality, looking at how we manage the customer service environment, got into the whole quality management piece, did things like training needs analysis. So there was always, under the business, quite a strong people focus. But then when I moved down south, that was to take a role with what was then an emerging and startup part of the organisation. And again, had the opportunity to work with some incredible individuals who I'm still in touch with to this day, who really challenged me and gave me opportunities to stretch, doing things that I wouldn't expect to be doing, you know, creating planning and forecasting, which was not the job that I was originally in to do. The job I was in to do was around e-procurement, for the part of the business which was ECRM, which are all of the systems now. If you think how Tesco managed their customer interaction, club card points, things like that, this was a very new aspect of technology back in sort of 2000. Moved from that into roles with outsourcing, which now we know is a kind of major feature of how most businesses run their operations. Again, quite new, quite exciting. And then spent a bit of time working with the newer technologies that were coming out with security, but from a commercial perspective. So looking at how we'd market that, what the contractual and pricing frameworks would need to be, who our clients would be. And from that, that again, it rekindled my interest in law. And I was really lucky. My manager at the time, I debated, do I go and do a master's in economics or do I go and do the PG cert in law? And I was supported to go and do that. and then supported to go and do the LPC, which I did not complete because of land law.
Okay.
But I did focus my studies in that area on commercial law, mergers and acquisitions. And what was wonderful is doing that alongside work. Yes, it's hard work, balancing both. But the exposure you get between studying and being able to go and apply the practical knowledge and those things informing each other. And, you know, I kind of completed that. And by that point, I was probably in my mid-20s, and I thought, do you know, if I can do this, and I'd moved to kind of quite a senior level of management, I don't think there was anybody else of my age that was at the level that I was at the time, which was just, and I thought, well, what makes this different? What is the difference here? Because, you know, people, we do all have different access to opportunities, but what makes you push? And for me, the things that I felt on reflection had made the difference was the strength of support, the encouragement, and the push sometimes to step outside of my comfort zone with some of my mentors and managers. That was something that had really, really encouraged me. And my thinking was, well, if I can do this, you know, I mean, I've freely admitted here, you know, a couple of courses that I've gone, okay, not for me, stop doing that, change direction. But if I can do that and get to that level, other people can do the same. And it was about kind of leading that path and sharing that knowledge with other people. That then led me to exploring, taking quite a strong interest in, if you like, the psychology of business and of leadership. And after toying with the idea for a while and reading lots of books and articles on psychology, it was actually the point when I found out I was expecting my first daughter. I decided, you know, actually the commercial stuff, it's great, I love it, I love working with numbers, but for me the people and unleashing that potential, I'm going to go and train to be a coach.
Okay, yeah.
So I went and did that at Barefoot, down in Derbyshire, completed my coaching training before my first daughter was born, started thinking about what I wanted to create as a business, and registered my company and did some stuff creating workshops and programs privately while still working for BT. And again, very fortunate within BT because I had to actually do live coaching case studies to test the theories, and had the opportunity to take that out as a programme within BT, coaching individuals. And by the time I left BT, I'd probably coached about 100 different individuals within the organisation.
Wow, that's amazing.
Sometimes for short periods, sometimes for longer, but all people at points where they're going, okay, what do I do with my career? Do I want to leave? Do I want to start a business? I'm really passionate about this. And sometimes you can find a way to bring the passion through in a way that really works for the business and works for the individual, which, you know, as you can see, I was fortunate enough to experience that in my corporate career. And if people understand what they want, then they can make the difference in their organisations in that way. But equally, sometimes it's time to take a risk and step out and look at, if you've got a passion, can you create your own business around it? And I think we're coming into a time now, particularly with the technology we have available to us, where it is possible for individuals to have, if you like, the day job, the salary, but also the opportunity to make so much contribution, whether it's through innovation, creating a new product, running an online community, you know, deciding to teach something that's their passion, maybe it's in health and wellness, outside of their career. It creates richer and more fulfilling lives for individuals. So if you can get that balance, I think it's great for the individual, for their emotional health. And that's also something I'm incredibly passionate about, seeing corporate life, and I guess people now, because of technology, you know, you have to work a lot harder, you have to work a lot faster, you're always on. And one of the messages I think that's important for me is actually you can be successful without doing it at the expense of your health and well-being. I think this is through a combination of, you know, looking at things like physical fitness, but also we have techniques available to us for things like stress management. And if we are operating, whether in our own business or working for somebody else, from a place where we are emotionally balanced and not stressed, performance and what's possible, you know, there's greater clarity in decision making, there's more optimism, your relationships with people are healthier.
It's all true.
And, you know, business, even hardcore business, ultimately at the end of the day is about relationships with customers, with suppliers. You know, your colleagues, you're always working with people. So I think the more healthy people we can get in business, the better.
When you were talking just then, I heard 4 to 5 really important points which you made. The first was around the first lesson which you learnt in business, which is taking all opportunities. And you know, that had a massive impact on you, didn't it?
Oh, huge, yeah. And I think when we are open to looking for opportunities and actually think, you know, go for it, why not?
Yeah.
Because often we put obstacles in our way. Yeah. Actually, sometimes it's just about taking a risk and going for it, you know. You might not get everything right, but, you know, the more opportunities you take, the more you learn, and, you know, the more success you're going to create.
Fantastic. So take every opportunity. You got to a certain position within BT, and you looked around and you thought, wow, I've got to this stage in my career. And you mentioned the support system you had around you.
Yeah.
How important was that, the support system?
Absolutely important. And, you know, I was just so fortunate. The leadership at the time very much kind of open door, very engaged and really interested in people, and actually they were great role models as leaders as well, because what I learnt from, you know, you have good bosses, you have bad bosses. What I learnt from the best ones was success is not about you, it's about empowering your team to do the best and actually wanting your team to go further than you. And, you know, they were just such inspiring people to be around that very generously, you know, shared their knowledge, would have that time for people. And, you know, again, that's partly, I think, why for me it's important, having had the benefit of that you pass that on, that you share that within communities and use it to help other people raise their aspirations.